Alrighty, welcome. It is Income Navigator live trading here on Tuesday, October 28th, a couple days away from Halloween. And markets certainly not tricking anybody here. Absolutely just a treat as we continue to just go up every single day with some new highs. All right, let's just jump into the charts here. And we're going to also touch base on some of the technicals and Anchor VWAP as well today, since I saw a question of that in the Discord. If you guys have other questions, anything else you want to make sure we cover, we can do that as well. Well, let's just start with ES. Up on the day, just a fraction, a quarter of a point today, or half a point right now. So barely just flat on the session today. No real direction. We had a pretty big gap up day yesterday. I'm surprised we're actually even up today, although we did go higher earlier to start the day, and now things are starting to drift lower. If we take a quick look at the day trading chart, let it load here on SPX. Let's reel it in. Okay. Here's what the day looks like. So you can see that the optimal move this morning, absolutely on the open here, was uh, a call credit spread, 0 DTE. We've been really trending down ever since the open. Things on the 15 don't look so great. A call credit spread here, as I'm talking, things are starting to tail off even worse. A little bit here. Again, worse means we're down a half a dollar. So it's not like the market's tanking. Very narrow range, but I'm expecting us to go lower on the session today. And that's kind of bearing out that everything on the 15 and the 3-minute charts, the intraday, doesn't look great. I'm not saying we're going to crash, but man, we are getting overextended. RSI is back up into the 68 range, almost overbought again here. We had a nice little rest, started moving up again. We are in a squeeze. You can see down here on this chart the squeeze, which is the red dots. We were squeezing. Things were getting tighter. You can look at the Bollinger Bands here and see they were getting tighter, which the squeeze is a function of Bollinger Band and Keltner channels together. And so you can just really see that volatility, okay, squeezing a bit. And then yesterday things started to open. So we squeezed tighter on the bands. And then now the bands just opened up and off and running we go, which means the squeeze is now firing. So you get into that consolidation zone, and then the squeeze signals us firing. We don't have a green bar yet, but that could absolutely happen if we have another up day or so here that the squeeze could be firing to the upside. Now we're heading towards this 7,000 level, which was kind of my target for the end of the year. I wasn't expecting to get there by the end of October, but doggone close here. I still think we run up to 7,000. Whether we get there this week, next week, 3 weeks from now, who knows? Uh, what's going to happen with that. But I think that's the way we're heading. So what are we looking at here? Again, I use the 8, which is the blue line, and the 21, which is the green line, to give me a sense of, are we bullish or bearish in that particular time frame, since this is a daily chart that we have going on here. And this is also the intraday chart. So you can see the 8 crossed below the 21 and on the 3-minute, which is a little bearish, but it hasn't done so on the 15-minute. So we're still in a bullish overall mood. So really, it's a good day for like an iron condor, in my opinion, because even though we're downtrending, things are still overall decently bullish. And an iron condor or something like that is not a bad choice. However, let's switch this up and take a look at the weekly daily, which is one of my favorite charts anyway. And the weeklies still very, very, very bullish on the weekly. Nothing to be overly concerned about. on the weekly. New highs, all-time highs, new all-time highs again today. We are overbought on the RSI, and even at these new highs, we are not setting new highs on the RSI, which is a little bit concerning here. But overall, things are bullish. So nothing to change here. If I'm trading ES, to me, I talked about Sunday on ES that a 112 trade was a good trade. I think we're in an NA zone right now. I would not be putting on new trades in ES. I think we're overbought. We're hitting the top of the overbought channels. Even though the squeeze could be firing, I would want some sort of a pullback before I added anything new, but bullish overall. Just no trade for me. All right, let's look at oil. All right, oil continues to be in this downtrend that we've had. It had a nice little pop, and now it's kind of giving that pop back over the last couple of days. All the charts on oil, are definitely bearish. We just continue to head lower. You can see lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower lows, lower low, lower low, another lower low. So that being said, while I do think we're in a bit of a bearish overall trend, and you've still got the 8 below the 21, below the 50, below the 200, I mean, that's not a reason to be bullish at all. The reason for me here is I just think this is a good trading level down here around 55, and anything above 50, I think is decent to put my puts below those levels. And I think today's pullback gives us not a bad strangle opportunity. Now I'm in a strangle. It's up 32% right now in 35 days. So we're getting close to taking it off, but it's been a little bit up and down on that strangle. And then we're in a jade lizard that's up 7% in just 21 days. We are just we're still inside the trap on the jade lizard. So I expect that trade to continue to work decently. If I was trading oil here, I'd continue to do strangles, and I'd still think a 112 trade based upon squeeze trying to reverse, MACD trying to reverse. RSI was heading higher, bending over a little bit, but even on this pullback, volume hasn't been great. I just think we're sitting right here near the 21. We're right near the 47 on the RSI. If I was picking a trade on oil, it would be a strangle here, maybe a 112, but I think this was just another lower high, and now we come back down into this range a bit. But it is a neutral trade because we have a bullish PSR, and that's the only bullish thing. We have 8 below the 21, stock below the 21, and RSI now below 50. So we just flipped from a neutral trade the last couple days to a slightly more bearish trade now. So I think you just have to be careful of oil selling off in here. I've heard some different conflicting stories on oil. News doesn't necessarily mean anything. It depends on how you want to interpret it. The way I view things is that demand is weakening on oil and production remains strong. However, there's some out there that are saying that because of the immense needs for energy and the lack of nuclear and other proper power sources, that the need for oil is still going to remain decent, which I think still puts a bid underneath this trade, is because we don't really have the nuclear power we need to power all the AI. And because of that, then I think oil is a good opportunity in here, or at least that puts a bid under it so that we're not going down to 40 or 30 or something in the time frame. I think we just continue to oscillate and drift slowly downwards, but I like it. All right, so there you go. Long explanation for that. Gold continues to sell off. I think we're seeing just a rotation from gold into crypto overall, even though today On crypto, it's pretty much flat, but we've seen a pretty good move on crypto. We'll get to that later on here. We came down. So let's talk about anchored VWAPs. And let's get into this a little bit with you and explain. So what is a VWAP? Well, a VWAP is a volume weighted average price. And what essentially that means is we're looking at the average price paid per share weighted by volume over a certain period. And volume has a lot to do with direction, momentum, all of those things. So we're taking the cumulative price times the volume, and we divide that by the cumulative volume if you really need to know all of those things. But essentially, um, it gives us an area where we can maybe find some resistance and some support. So I use VWAP. And what makes anchored VWAP different from VWAP, again, is it's anchored to a spot. Okay. It's not just VWAP. Okay. It's just not volume weighted average price, which is calculated daily. The anchored VWAP is from a certain price point, and we're taking a look at what does the VWAP look like when it's anchored to that particular point, like it is on here on oil. So let's use it here on oil, and then we can pull it out on some other trap. So essentially, we're going to anchor the VWAP to a starting point. And for me, it's usually a major swing high or swing low in the chart. Okay. Most of the time, that's what I'm looking for is a major swing high or a major swing low. I mean, this is a major swing high back here as well. I could anchor VWAP to this as well. So now you've got a resistance level anchored to this recent swing high back on October 20th. And then I'm anchored it also to this low, and this is the major low back here on August 20th. Right? So it could potentially act as another, support resistance area, almost like a moving average or a key moving average. You can also anchor them to news events or earnings days or breakouts, things like that. But to me, it's really just best anchored to a major swing high or a swing low. So when I add it on here, you can see the white line. And we did come down this morning and we almost hit exactly on that line, but that was where gold today bounced higher, okay, off of that level. That also seems to correspond right with this 50 fib level, which is a pretty strong Fibonacci level. I'm not saying it'll hold, but this is the next level to hold. It's also very close to the 50-day moving average. So they're all right here, right about 38.75 or so. So somewhere in this 38.80 to 38, or 38.60, 38.90 range, somewhere in that range. Now, so that being said, it can act as a support or resistance level. I typically will not use it by itself, but if it gives me other nearby levels, then I feel that it's a pretty good spot. And then I don't pick just based on VWAP, but if we do bounce off of it, then I want to look at RSI or MACD to see if we're also getting a bounce from that same area. Hope that makes sense. That's pretty much the simple uh, use of anchored VWAP is to me support or resistance levels that if we break those or hold those, uh, it certainly adds more to it. Okay. Um, you wanted to see my anchored VWAP settings, so this is my input. So I'm using a 2.5 multiplier, and then 0.01 is my multiplier number 2, and I'm using a percentage mode. All right, so there's my anchored VWAP inputs that I use. Okay. All right. That being said, let's, I don't need to keep this one on here for now, but I do like this one here as a support level. So if we hold this on gold, fine. If we can't hold it, then maybe we have some more downside to go on gold. Maybe we're going to test the 618 level, which to me is also this swing low, uh, potential pivot level here, right around 3750. So 3750 is where if gold does come down to that, that's where I will probably be a buyer again. Right now on gold, I don't really need to fuss with it. Um, I've got a 112 on, which is got a 35.25, so way down here. I'm fine with that. That trade's actually up 37% right now. And then I also have a BA112 on. That thing's up 60%, 50 some percent right now on gold. And that's around 3,600 as well for the naked puts. We are in the trap on the BA112, which is awesome. If we can hold this area here and gold can just kind of sideways hang a bit, it's had a pretty good selling uh, and it's not overly extended, so there could be some more downside. It was definitely overbought. Nice pullback. Do you want to put on something new in gold here? Well, you still have the 8 above the 21, right? But you've broken the 21. You have a bearish PSAR, and you've got RSI below 50. So right now, gold is in a bearish mode on the short term. And to me, with three out of my four key points being bearish, and the only one bullish is the fact that the eight's still above the 21. In here, I'm probably not putting on uh, any new trades in gold right now, and I've already got some on. So gold for me right now is just a no-go. I think a strangle here is a possibility. So it does set up for a nice strangle. It's right now near the 21. It's kind of between the two Bollinger Bands, and we're at a 46, 46.8 RSI. I think it's not a bad strangle. I think we could still go down a little bit more. I still think we will drift higher back to this area. I think right here is not a bad strangle on gold. I don't have any room to add. I've got two gold trades on that are both up really nicely right now. So I'm not going to touch it, but there's gold for you. All right, let's take a look uh, at bonds and see how they're doing. Bonds have been just nicely positive as rates continue to drop, but I think rates are finding a bottom here. I think this is going to be setting itself back up soon for some more strangles. But in the meantime, I mean, it's bullish, right? So, bullish PSAR, 8 above the 21, stocks above the 8 or is above the 21. RSI is rising, not quite to oversold or overbought levels. I think if you're bullish on bonds, stay that way. Would I add any trades here? We're getting almost to a new trade zone. 112s don't set up on this thing. I think naked puts aren't bad. And I do like my TLT PMCC. That's a great trade, doing fantastic. I don't see a lot of setups in here. It's not really a triangle for me. Maybe selling naked puts here on this recent pullback through yesterday. That was a great idea yesterday on the pullback to the 21. That 21 has been extremely resilient as a support level. And again, hit it yesterday. Perfect day to add. Yesterday was the day to add your naked puts or something to it. All right. Um, where's my anchor on gold? Way off my line. My anchor on gold was back here on August 20th. Okay, that was my swing low on gold, August 20th. Okay, all right. So bonds, they're bullish. I think maybe a naked put or something in here. They don't set up for 112s very, very well. I don't think it's a great strangle opportunity here. I would love yesterday maybe, but I would wait. So nothing to trade there. I think I would just hold off. So not a lot of futures trades. I think again, oil's probably the best ones. Strangles, 112s, gold, maybe a strangle, and then ES and bonds I would not be in currently or not be adding to. If you're in, you're in. All right, let's rock on to some other looking trades. We've got earnings coming up on Amazon. It looks great. Descending wedge, breakout to the upside, and I like it here. So Amazon looks great. I think this thing has been uh, an overdone trade to the downside. I mean, you hit the 200 day. I added more leaps here. I more than doubled my position in Amazon. I like it that much. Uh, if you work for Amazon, I'm sorry if you're getting laid off, but I got to tell you, I absolutely love the fact that they're laying off workers from a stock standpoint. Yeah, cutting 15, 20, 30,000 people and putting that money into CapEx. I think that is a fantastic move by Amazon. I think this thing's already a monster of a company. And I think that just makes them even better. More spending in CapEx, reducing employee costs, more on AI. I like it. So I think that was really positive news. It broke out of this ascending wedge. I like it here. I think I would be waiting till it came back down. I doubled my position sizing in the lazy trader account by adding a whole nother synthetic long on Amazon. The 8 just crossed the 21. Again, this is a perfect spot. I don't think it's too far gone. So if you want to get in, I think the squeeze is just beginning. So it's just starting to fire on the squeeze. MACD, RSI all heading higher. You're heading into earnings, which is what I would be cautious of. But if you look back on earnings, break, beat, 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 beat. Okay. So I expect earnings to be good for Amazon as well. All righty. So anyway, bullish on Amazon. I've been bullish on Amazon. I think I say it every single meeting. So if you've been getting in as I've been talking this up to you, you've got to be somewhat happy with that. All right, NVIDIA, it's heading towards earnings uh, here. It's not my favorite thing. It doesn't look bad here. It could take off. It could make a run into earnings. Everything's fine. I think that it was a better deal when it touched the 50. So it seems to respect the 50 more than the 21. And you've had opportunities. And every time you've hit the 50, you've had nice runs off of that. This is just another good run. Plenty of gaps on NVIDIA. It's not my thing here. I think there's other better plays, but it's, again, a good company, wouldn't it? Am I holding Amazon calls over earnings? No, I'm not. I will not hold any poor man covered calls over earnings. So I didn't do it on UNH or SoFi yesterday. Both beat. I'm not going to do it on Amazon either. So I will close those earnings as well. But tonight, and today's is Tuesday. Tonight I don't have anything that I have to worry about. I have no stocks that have earnings today or tonight at all. Now, tomorrow night, we do have Meta, Alphabet, Microsoft. Uh, I only have calls on Google. I know I don't have Google at all. So Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet. That's it. I don't have anything in those. And then Amazon's not till Thursday, so I won't do anything on Amazon till Thursday. Will I close my Leaps call before earnings? Yes, if I'm doing a poor man's covered call or a call on Leaps before earnings, I will close those. The only ones I don't really close before earnings is an income poor man covered call. I will typically roll those down to the expected move in the money uh, and still collect some cash. But I'm in good shape on mine, but I won't be closing. And the only one I have to close this week will be Amazon. No, I'm not closing the leap. I'm closing the covered call, not the leap. I'm closing the covered calls on those. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not closing the leaps at all. I'm never closing my Amazon leap. So, uh, yeah, but I do have a covered call on those, and I will close those on Thursday before the market closes. But I don't have any others running right now. I have no covered calls on Meta. I have no covered calls on um, any other stocks that have earnings coming out. All right, they've all been, and UNH was the only one, and I'll probably reestablish that one, even though it's just a leaps play. But my leaps are up 94%, so I'm in good shape. So only the covered call getting closed. Yes, 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 yes. All right, let's keep moving. So Tesla, I like it here. It looks good. It's getting a little bit excited, but I think it could. It's in a squeeze. I think Tesla can keep going. I like Tesla. Looks decent. I like Meta. You got earnings coming up. Here, as we mentioned, tomorrow. I don't know. I already got into it. I bought at the lows. I'm not buying anything at these highs, but it probably is going to go higher. Apple looks good, but I would only buy at lows. Google looks good. I would only buying at the lows. Microsoft looks good, but it's already gone for me. Palantir starting to try to break out of this trading range uh, on here, but I'm not. It's fine, but I wouldn't. Again, I'm not entering until I get to the bottom of these bands and lows. So you got to wait for pullbacks. You just got to be patient. You'll get one. Pullbacks are coming. Okay. It might not come for a month. It might not come for 2 months, but it's coming. Just be patient. There's other things to trade. Uh, and you don't need window dressing in your accounts before the end of the year on any of these stocks. Hood, great opportunity here. You got earnings coming up on Hood. No sense doing anything on those. I do have covered calls on a lot of Hood shares and other accounts. I will be pulling those off before they report, but they're not reporting here until next Wednesday. So I can go all the way out to this Friday and not worry about it. Netflix, I think it's not a bad opportunity in here. Okay, it's not participating in any of these rallies yet, as you're mentioning. I don't think it's bad. I mean, you're at the 200 day. I talked about it in the last Zoom meeting that, when's the last time you had a chance to buy Netflix below the 200-day moving average? It only happens like once a year or two. So I think it's not a bad play. It's gotten, uh, reevaluated a bit. Earnings was not as great this past one, so that makes me a little bit more nervous on it. But if I'm looking at this thing, revenue keeps climbing, earnings keep climbing. It's still a good company, and you're getting a chance to buy it here. It's just expensive. Okay, nice pullback. Okay. I don't know that it's done going down though. Uh, Showing a little signs of life here. Again, I don't think you need to be first. A Bollinger Band is wide open, which means there's no Bollinger Band support on this thing. Squeeze is firing to the downside. You can see the green dots with the red lines. So it's just getting started in the squeeze, which typically can last about 8 bars. I'd be patient. Okay. Even if this thing moves up to 1140 or 1160, I think you have plenty of time. Okay. You don't have to be first to get into it right here and call the exact bottom. Okay. On this thing, I think you can just let it recover. I'd be in no hurry. All right. On Broadcom here, we're in this thing. So we are in Broadcom. Let me make sure I've got the account pulled up here so I know exactly what our trade is. So we're in Broadcom with a new income poor man covered call. This thing fits all of our criteria. You know, it's going up from left to right over the long term. It's meeting all of my earnings and revenue criteria of 20% growth a year. It's meeting my return on equity criteria. So we're in it and it's up. We're We're doing well on this thing. We're actually up 39% in 5 days on the leaps, but we are down a bit on the covered calls, but we don't care, right? Because all we want is the extrinsic value, okay, of this thing, and we've already booked almost $1,000 of extrinsic value on the calls, and we still have 592 left worth of extrinsic on AVGO. Perfect. We're up almost $900 in 5 days on this income poor man covered call. I like it. We're going to stick with it, but it is, you could also do a regular poor man's covered call in AVGO as well. I just don't want to add any more stocks, but I think a regular poor man's covered call would also be a great play. But I think you needed to get in at a better price. All right. SoFi reported earnings. Earnings are good. It was up. It was down. It's flat today. It's fine. I like where SoFi is. I think this thing continues to go up. I think 40 is on the radar for SoFi at some point. All right. So there's where we are on SoFi. I do like Uber. We got earnings coming up. I think there's some good opportunities here. We are about, you can see that MACD is reversing off of its lows. You can see squeeze is reversing. Okay, I called this out the other day with a 2-bar squeeze reversal on Friday. Okay, which is a very good bullish chart. I don't, one squeeze reversal bar, yellow bar here. Okay, it's on your radar. Two good reversal opportunities. So I think that Friday was a good potential win spot to get in. The 8's above the 50, but the 21's above the 50. If we get in here a little bit tighter, you can see too that the 8 here is cranking higher. It's about to break through the 21. That's a really good bullish sign on Uber. I think it's a good opportunity on Uber. Now, what I did on Uber was I did buy leaps on it. We've been in it for about 22 days, so it's been down a little bit on Uber. But other than that, I like where Uber is. We're long in the Lazy Trader account on Uber. Right? If you're not long, I mean, would I get into it now? I would. So I think this is another good spot to get into Uber. All right, Boeing here looks good. You got earnings coming up, I believe, tomorrow on Boeing. I didn't look if they're before or after the bell. They are before the open tomorrow. But 8 just broke the 21. I think this is a good spot. I think I called this out on another trade. You can barely tell on the squeeze, okay, but it is starting to fire a bullish squeeze. Got earnings, so you got to risk that earnings, but I think on these lows, this was the opportunity in Boeing. Okay, we're not that far past those that it's not a bad opportunity now. I like it. All right. ARM got earnings coming up, so I'm just going to skip through most of these now. We did add a JP Morgan trade yesterday in the main account here, so I did go with a naked put at 290, which is the anchored VWAP. So let's go back to anchored VWAP again. And I pulled this inflection point, this major low here. So this swing low from May 23rd, I put my anchored VWAP on, and you can see that we've come close to it a couple times, but we banged right on it this week. I think that's a pretty good area to bounce from. So I wanted to get in on JP Morgan, and then it gave me a bit of a doji pattern here, followed through the next 2 days. We were up a little bit more today, and then we're kind of flat, but I like financials here. I like JP Morgan. I also like Goldman Sachs. And you could do the same type of a thing. It's the same basic chart. Okay, they look almost identical between these two. You can pick either one of them. All right, Vertiv too far. GE Vernova. This is not, a bad play. Let's wait till it shakes out. NNE, also a very interesting play. I really like this nano nuclear energy. Again, anchored VWAP play here from this pivot low, this big swing low, anchor VWAP. You can see we broke below it for a couple days. We came back on it, bounced yesterday, the day before yesterday, and again today on this anchored VWAP. I think this is a good entry point on NNE. I do like it here. Uh, I think I got long somewhere along the line on this thing. I don't know. It wasn't anything in this service, but um, I'm definitely watching NNE to be long. All right. CoreWeave, we got earnings. Uh, Nothing to do in this thing. This was a great opportunity. Bottom of the Bollinger Band here. Nice move. Higher swing or squeeze triggered to the downside. Now you got a 1 day reversal. If we get any more, uh, I think CoreWeave could be another one. I think we did a strangle on this one, but I would have done probably a naked put back here. But you got earnings coming up, so nothing to do. PayPal, we just got out of this thing yesterday. We had a naked put, pulled that one off, 78% winner or so on PayPal. All right. All right, bull. Okay. So a very sharp descending wedge here, right? So a sharp descending wedge. It triggered a bullish PSAR 3 days ago. So last Friday, it broke the wedge on Friday, triggered a bullish PSAR. Okay. Moved up above that yesterday. It's giving back some today, right? And that's kind of typical. It may break out, come back, and then make its run. We'll see. I like the fact that MACD is curling up. You got the squeeze. It's now had its 2 bar reversal yesterday, which is why another reason I got in yesterday has another reversal day today. RSI is still pretty low, so I think it could have room to run to the upside. We are ways out of earnings, so I like it. Uh, Question was, large orders coming in on calls on this thing. So there's a couple ways to do that. There are some services out there that I think you can take a look at as well. But also, you can just look at your, shoot, didn't mean to do that with this thing. You can also look at your uh, options chain, and you can also see that on the options chains, uh, there's some pretty good size orders coming in. So for the ahead of earnings, most of the orders are up around, there's at 15, there's 55,000. I'll just show it to you quickly. But you can also track flow from a variety of different sources. Let's just take a quick look here. But let's look at 10 days out. Look at the volume and the open interest on some of these shares. But, you got 6,000 up here at 20. You got almost 6,000 here at 15. You do have some down below, so these can be some strangles and things like that too. But there's a lot of bullish action and a lot of volume being traded. Okay, look at the volume down here on the puts. Okay, couple hundred, some 20s, some other things like that. Look at the volume up here. Okay, you're seeing thousands of contracts being traded right now for the 7th. Let's look at the 14th. Okay. Again, you have no volume on puts. See, there's just no volume. There's some open interest, but there's just no volume on puts. Look at the volume being traded and the open interest on calls. Okay. It's hundreds and hundreds of shares here. Let's go out a little bit further. More volume here. Look, 11 at 15. Again, 11,000 shares. Look at the open interest right here on this one. At the 15, 127,000. 127,000 shares open interest. It's a monstrous amount of open interest. Okay. So to me, that's telling me people are placing huge, huge chunks of bets. And yes, Bull's only a $10 stock, but people are placing monstrous bets, 127,000 at 15 for November 21st. Okay. I don't want to keep going and going and going and going. Okay. But you can see all of the open interest and the volume being traded on the calls around 15. I like that a lot. So, and then look at this January 16th where I bought. Look at the open interest. Tens, 20s, 30,000s, 196,000 at the 15. I bought the 12.5, but there's 196,000 contracts at 15 out for this leap. There's nothing like that on the put side. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there are monstrous bets being placed on bull. Okay. Doesn't mean any of us are right, but I like the chart. I like this area, okay, here, and I'm willing to, and I own it a couple different ways here because I own naked puts at 11, and then I own uh, a lot of calls at 12 and a half. Does that help a little bit, K-Fall? Uh, I don't, without pulling up um, you don't have to subscribe to Flow and all of that stuff. You can simply just look at the order chains and see where's all the volume. Okay. What strikes do people think? Well, people think the 15 strike is very, very, very doable, and they're putting hundreds of thousands of contracts. Okay. Those are contracts, which are 100 shares. So that means those are millions of shares of stock. Have I bought Leaps and Bull? Yeah, I bought a ton yesterday. Okay. I posted it in the Discord. Well, I don't know if I bought a ton, but yeah, I bought 25 contracts of Leaps. Yes, oh, not Leaps. I'm sorry. I bought the 80-day, not Leaps, but uh, yeah, because I'm just expecting the move now before the end of the year. Okay. Could have done Leaps, but no, I just did the shorter term. All right. Anyway, there's Bull. I think we spent too much time on that. Let's go here. Oscar, I like it. You got earnings coming up. Things are good on Oscar. I'd like to get back into this thing. I'm out of shares, but well, I have long-term stuff going on in the Lazy Trader. I don't have anything in the Income Navigator. And then UNH, okay, beat on earnings, beat on the upside, beat on revenue. Uh, all good. It's exactly what we expected. And now, exactly what I said was going to happen was I expected us to take out this gap. So the gap officially was filled today. Beautiful stuff. Exactly what we expected. I'm still calling for 400 by year end. I expected the gap to get filled. It got filled. Now after filling the gap, it pulled back totally fine. I think this thing still goes higher. I'm saying 400 this year, and I'm saying 600 next year on UNH. This is, to me, one of the best buying opportunities, has been all year. Uh, I'm good. So, should we look to re-enter UNH? Yeah, sure. I think it looks good. Uh, Here, good earnings. And then you had the run. It's pulling back. It's still up on the day. I think it still looks good. I'm still very bullish, so I'm going to continue. But I own just a massive amount of contracts in the Lazy Trader and all my other investing accounts. It's my number one holding across all of my portfolios by far. Okay, so I am irresponsibly long UNH. All right, let's just quickly move Bitcoin. I like it. It's had a really good move up. Okay, as gold has moved down, Bitcoin has been moving up. I said there's a rotation going on from gold into Bitcoin. Things look good in Bitcoin land. You got the 8 about to break the 21. Had a nice sell-off. We shook out weak hands here. We shook out more weak hands here. I think that bodes really well for Bitcoin. We've got the squeeze reversal, MACD reversal, RSI reversal, 8 about to cross the 21. You're above the 21. What's not to like on Bitcoin? And our IBIT position triggered a bullish PSAR today as well. That's also a great piece. Now, strategy, another story. It just continues to struggle no matter what Bitcoin is doing. It's had a little bit of a move up and then selling off. The squeeze is long, even though MACD has been curling up. I just think it's not a bad spot down in here, but obviously it is a very leveraged play on Bitcoin. So you got to be careful with what you're doing there. And then Ethereum, also looks good. Not quite where Bitcoin is, but I do like that. And then BMNR is my way to play Ethereum here, and I like it. There's nothing to me not to like about where we are sitting. MACD is reversing higher. Now the squeeze is also reversing a bit, but pretty much flat. You're back above the 8, trying to hold on. It's just really sideways. It's a great strangle opportunity. So I think you could strangle this thing, and if it falls, take assignment and own it or flip it. All right, there you go. There's a bunch of stuff there. Just a um, quick look at earnings today. So we had SoFi and UH, and PayPal all ahead of earnings, or ahead, in the morning this morning. Nothing big for me this afternoon. I'm not in any of these, so don't really care. Tomorrow, nothing big except Boeing before earnings for me. There. And then after the bell tomorrow, yeah, Meta, Microsoft, and Google, your three of the biggies out there. I don't care about Carvana and Chipotle and any of those. And then Thursday, nothing really big. I mean, if you like Lilly or Merck or something, fine. Those don't excite me at all. But we do have Amazon and Apple after the bell, and strategy. So those will be the big three for me after the close on Thursday. So after the close, a couple exciting things, and then Friday, Exxon, Chevron. If you're in some of those, nothing exciting on Friday for me at least. All right. That being said, let's take a quick pop in, and we can take a look at some trades if you want to see how things are going. Okay. Overall, kind of a mixed day in the Income Navigator account here. We've got a strangle on an oil. That thing's fine, up 37%. Jade Lizard's up 11%. And it's exactly, I think, where you want to be, which is right in the middle of the trap. So we'll let this thing go, and we'll see if that works out in our favor. But we're looking to make at least the $500 if we stay in the trap, if we don't fall too hard out of that. ES, we've got the BA112. This thing is doing fantastic. It's up 115% now, doing exactly what we designed it to do, which would be give us a little bit of a hedge. Now, if the markets fall down to 6,600, 6,500, you can see this is starting to lift up. Now, how much time is left on this trade? 24 days. So in the next 24 days, if we don't go much higher, I mean, if we stay here, we're going to make $550, which is going to be great. But if we start to drop at all, we're going to start to make, 700, 800, and then potentially $4,000 or so down in here. So it's perfectly set up for us, in my opinion, as a decent hedge or bonus opportunity if the markets fall. It's giving us negative delta as well. So that's helping. So negative delta and very little negative vega due to the way it's set up. So that's a great little trade. I love that trade. And then naked puts, we're doing good. We're at 82%. So we have another naked put. Could come off anytime in the next, 4 or 5 days, most likely. I'm going to guess that this thing is about 9 more days. So before now and the end of next week, this will come off. Uh, and then this one's got probably 13 days left on it. It's at 62%. That's fine. Plenty of put debit spreads. And then we also have a naked put up here at 39% winner. That one's good. That's it on ES. Things look good. Gold, we got a 112 trade on gold. This thing's up 35%. Looks great. Taking a look at this trade. Making sure how much time has this thing got left on it. This has got 56 days. Honestly, we've only had this for 6 days. I like where we are. I mean, gold has been coming down quickly, heading towards this area. We just need it to slow down a bit on it. But for now, we're up. And I will take the fact that we're up on that trade. And then we also have this BA111. And the nice thing about this trade, there's only 27 days in it. It's up 42%. Okay? And we're in the trap. Okay? And if we can stay in the trap here instead of making our 500 bucks, okay, that we took in when we sold it, okay, we can now make 1,000 bucks if we stay here. Even if we move higher, we're going to make more than 500 bucks. So as long as we just don't head down towards 3,600, we need to keep, hopefully don't drop another 300 points in gold. But we'll keep an eye on it. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. Not too worried about it. We've got, the 50% retracements at 3,800. The 618 is at 37.5. That could put some pressure on it if we get to those. We'll see, but we'll trade our plan. What's your opinion on a collar trade over leaps during earnings? I mean, if you are worried and want to protect the downside by buying that put, you can. I don't know. I'm in them for the long term anyway, and I already have long puts on my trade. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how your leaps are set up. But do you just have the 80 delta that you bought, or did you put on a synthetic with a protected put? I already have the protected put, so I already essentially have a collar on my leaps, or I have protection. And if you have the 80 delta calls, you're already limiting your downside. I don't think you need to. But you can certainly do whatever you want to. I just think if I bought the 80 delta call, I've already limited my downside. I can't go. I can only lose what I paid for it. And if you're selling covered calls, you've been knocking that cost basis down. I don't know. I mean, if you're worried about the earnings, then yeah. Uh, I guess it might depend on what you own, but I'm not a big collar guy. It's just I don't like spending money on those hedges. I just would rather maintain the trade. That's just me. Okay. So I may not be the best guy to ask on that. What do you do if it gaps down? Well, if it gaps down, if I still like the stock, I'm just going to keep writing calls against it and it'll recover. I mean, you bought a leap, right? So you expect to own it for a year or two. So if it drops, that's fine. You just write covered calls on it and that are out of the money. I would not roll it. I wouldn't bring the delta back to 80. I would leave it alone. That's just me, but I just don't like to adjust. I mean, I bought it for a reason, and if your philosophy hasn't changed and you're not hitting your reasons to exit, I would just hold. You bought a leap. It's going to go up and down. It's probably going to go, we're at all-time highs. Things are going to go down, guys, in the next couple months. Okay, we might make it to 7,000. We might break it before the end of the year, and then we're going to have a sell-off. And we're going to have a 10% or 15% sell-off at some point. And then we're going to go right back up. I think you just got to get used to going up or down, but I wouldn't keep buying protection and spending money. Is there a way to convert existing stock holdings with gains into leaps? Well, I mean, there's no good way to do it. I mean, obviously, you can sell the stock and then buy a leap uh, to get out of it. Um, I mean, for me, I would just, if you want to do that, start selling closer to at the money covered calls on it, generate as much cash as you can. And if you get called away, you get called away, and then you can jump into leaps. I don't know if there's a great way to do it besides just selling it. Uh, what I would look to do is what I did with strategy. Was with strategy, what I did was on the big dip that we just had in strategy, that's when I sold it. Even though I made some money because I was selling covered calls, I still made money, but I sold it at a low, got out, got into the leaps at the low, and now those are up. Uh, or at least they're, kind of sideways here. But this has only been on 8 days. So I sold my strategy, which had a gain when you factor in the calls. I sold it and bought the leaps, but I did it when I had when it took a dip. So maybe that's helpful to you. I don't know, but there's nothing to do on any of these. Um, Bull, again, we own the naked put. That thing's fine. We did buy the calls yesterday. They're down a bit, but that's okay. Uh, AVGO, this is a new income plan covered call. This thing's up $800 in 5 days. We'll take that. Gold, I still have extrinsic in here. So it's not, it's at 80 some percent. And yeah, we're still 3 days left, and we probably could have done something yesterday. It's only down $2 today. I don't know. I could roll it or I could just do nothing. I've got such a humongous gain on these leaps that I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to hold off. If I get to 90% and I break the 200 mark or so here in the next day or two, then I'll look to roll at that point. But all I care about is the extrinsic on it. So that's all I want. I don't care about the longs. I just care about the extrinsic. IBIT, we did roll that one yesterday, which was a good move yesterday. JP Morgan, I did add a naked put. I think it's pretty much flat. Lulu, we added a naked put yesterday. Not doing much of anything, down a bit. Strategy, nothing to do here. QQQ, nothing to do here. Still plenty of extrinsic. SPY, nothing to do. Plenty of extrinsic. And then home builders, this naked puts up 14% now in 6 days. So nothing to really do here. Uh, what percentage of my portfolio you prefer on one stock's leaps call? I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, uh, but I don't have leaps at all in this investing account except to do the income portman cover call. But in the lazy trader account, um, then 20% of my portfolio is allocated towards leaps for the most part. So about 20% is allocated towards leaps. Oops, let me reshare here. So here's the lazy trader account. 40% of this account is in things like BTCI and GPIX and MISTI, SPY, QQQI, WPay. So about 40% in those um, income, income EFTs, and then 40% is in poor man's covered calls, and then 20% is in leaps like UNH. Okay. Even though it says poor man's covered call, it's really just a leaps trade. I don't even know why it says poor man's covered call, to be honest with you. 00130. It's not a permanence covered call. I will sell some covered calls against leaps at times, but the goal of these things is appreciation. Now, the total of my UNH leaps right now is up over 100%. So we've made 45 grand in 127 days. It's pretty good. And I still think this thing's got room to run. This one's going to run out of time sooner than later. It's the oldest one. It's down to 52 days. It really needs to go bye-bye. So the majority of the funds are in this one. This really needs to go. On a down day, I'd probably want to get out of that thing, or a high day, I can get out of it and then add more. And then Tesla is a permanence covered call. Uber is strictly just a leap. So Uber's a leap, not a permanence covered call play. So this is a leap. All right. So I hope that makes sense. Um, Nothing to do in any of these. Amazon, I have to watch this thing as we get close to earnings, but not to do anything on it yet. It's all good. I mean, I'm happy with where we are. This account is, absolutely rocking and rolling. All right, I've got to run because we're at the bottom of the hour, and the BA112 trade. Let's just do that really quickly here. So all it is a 112 trade, but we call it the BA or the big ass 112. And the main reason for that is we want to give ourselves a lot of runway to the downside if something is getting toppy and might roll over. So we did it in gold, we did it with the 111, but we also did it in ES with a 112. So it doesn't really matter which one you use. If I was doing it right now, if ES was, and it is getting a little overbought, so maybe ES not a bad spot to drop another BA 112 in. How would I do it? I typically go out to about 60 days. Uh, with that, I will put on the same type of a, I don't like this one at all. 59. Let's go to this. Yeah, let's go to this one. Some of these, they're just real quick, why did I do that? Uh, like the weekly, um, these weeklies, not all of them have a lot of good expirations to them. Uh, and I want the 25 wides. So I can do the 52 day, or let's just do the 52 day. It doesn't really matter which one we do. All right. I'm going to go typically the same 50, or you could go 100 wide. Once you set it up, you start playing with it. But this would be the standard setup for a 112 trade, right? So right around 25 delta, go 50 wide, and then sell a 7 delta-ish, something around 20 bucks. And well, oh, I was going to say something else is amiss here. Now we got it. All right, so here's what it looks like. This would be your standard 112, right? So my standard 112 here is that thing. So there's my standard 112 that I just built, right? Standard trap, standard everything. I can make 1,800 bucks using 14,000. That's nice, over 10%. We're in great shape, loving it, excited, fine. Okay. But what I want to do with the BA 112 is I'm going to drag this thing out until I have almost no money, okay, left. Now you can drag it until you get to almost nothing here. So it's so big, okay, that you can't even fit it all on one screen, and you're making no money in the tail. It's only really somewhat of a hedge, even though it's not a perfect hedge, that if we drop down now, if we drop down fast, this T plus zero goes south quickly. You could be upside down and lose money. So if we sell off hard, this is not going to, be a good trade. It's not going to enjoy itself. Okay. However, slow sell off or even hangs around here, and then we start to sell off after about 30 days, this is going to start to look a lot better in 30 days as this line lifts up in here. All right, so it's going to cost me 5 grand to make around 2,500 in the trap. We're going to make nothing in the tail. So all it's doing is burning buying power. Are you willing to give up 5 grand worth of buying power for a trade that could potentially drop into this trap. And this goes all the way down to 5,000. You have to drop 2,000 points on ES for this thing to be a problem. Okay. I think you could probably do something along this line. Okay, where it's still a long way down at 5,600. So we're at 7,000 on this ES contract right now, uh, going out 52 days. But still, we'd have to drop 1,400 points to get to here. Doesn't mean we can't do that. Market could certainly crash. I don't think this is a bad trade, but I brought it up just enough where I make $500. Why is that significant? Well, making $500 on 8164 is 6%. So I still make 6% in this tail, okay, no matter what, in 52 days. I don't even need that. I really only need to make about 5% because 5% 52 days is still 1% a week or so. So I'm okay with that. Um, so I think this is not bad, but this is what a BA looks like. It's got a long trap because you're now talking about a 3 delta almost. I didn't even pick it by delta. You got a 3 delta versus a 7 delta. So instead of 6,150, 5,600 is 500 points lower. And if you want to, take some risk off the table, you could then, turn this thing into a 111, drop the quantity on that. Now it's a 111 trade. Not making much money at all in the tail, but you're also using a lot less buying power. Okay. We could just drop it even further if we don't want to make any money at all. We just don't want to spend much money. Let's look at this one. 5,500. So this would be a good BA setup where there's you have no risk on the upside here. And then if we drop it all down here, you can make almost $2,500 using $3,300. Okay, so this is nice, 73% return if the market drops into this trap. It's not bad either. Okay, and your risk is lower because you only have one naked put. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Volatility could also explode. Yeah, my house could explode too. So I have no idea. Um, the risk to me is a fast sell-off. I'm not worried about volatility. If volatility explodes and I hit my 2x, then I'll stop out. Because I'm only doing a one naked put, so I don't have that much risk on. I'm not worried about volatility so much here that if volatility expands and goes crazy and I take the loss at a 2x loss, then I'll take the loss at a 2x loss. Okay. It's, the risk to me is a fast sell-off as much as anything. And sure, a volatility explosion, but the odds of that are, doesn't mean it can't happen. We've seen it happen. I've seen it happen, once every, couple years, but it's not what I have a plan if we go south to just get out of it. But what this does give me is a little bit of a bonus, low cost, high reward trap, but it's not a low risk trade because again, there's risk of a sell-off, risk of a fast sell-off, risk of a volatility spike. Sure, all those things can happen, but if we just get, I just think the market is bullish, and I mean, I don't know what is out there that could cause something significant, but there's always something that we don't see. So just have a plan on how to get out. I think, yeah, the delta drop is not a big problem, but if the delta drop is fast, it's a problem. So a fast delta drop, that's a problem. Okay. But that's usually because it's a fast delta drop and a volatility pop at the same time, and together they're not nice things. But I don't mind this trade either. So I think that's a good potential trade idea. All right, AVGO, you wanted to know there's $558 or 540 some dollars of extrinsic left. So that was a question. How do I set a stop loss on the ES11X? You can't set stop losses. You have to use a manual stop. Okay, so you'll have to stop it yourself if you hit whatever your stop loss is, but you can't set them ahead of time. You got to manually do it. It's a crappy thing about futures, but you just can't set stops on futures with most brokerages. All right, there it is. Yeah, fair day today. It's really just this gold thing that's getting hit, but it's up so much money that it's okay. We don't have to get out. All right, have a great rest of your day, everybody. I hope this was helpful to you, and we will see you guys all in the Discord. All right, see you guys. Bye.